Back in 2009, when Assassin's Creed 2 was launched with a model that required a constant internet connection to run, Ubisoft thought they finally built something uncrackable, a system they believed no one on Earth could ever break. And it lasted 9 days. Billions of dollars in development defeated in just 9 days. But how? How do you even break a game? Well, think of cracking a game like sneaking past a bouncer at a club. You either get the real VIP pass or fake something that looks exactly like the VIP pass. And back in the old floppy disk era, that's basically how it worked. Games didn't know who you really were. They just checked if you had the VIP pass, which was the serial key. But then came the pirates. They duplicated those keys and blasted them across the internet, letting anyone play the game for free, resulting in millions of dollars of losses for game companies. So the developers came up with a seemingly brilliant idea: game manuals. Instead of printing the serial key on the floppy disk, they hid the key somewhere inside the manual. When you install the game, it would ask something like, enter the code from page 14, paragraph 2. Hackers didn't care. They just scanned the entire manual and uploaded it as a PDF. Anyone could download it and extract every page. Then the 90s arrived, the age of CD-ROMs and Seki-ROM, which developers claimed was uncrackable. Games now required the physical disk to be in the drive to launch. But for hackers, this was almost laughable, as they realized they could write tiny patches that tricked the game into believing the disk was always inserted even when the drive was literally empty. And that's why you'd remember pirated softwares showing up as a virtual disk, which essentially is just a fake drive created by software. Fast forward to today and things are very different. Now we've got monsters like Denuvo and DRM. DRM, or Digital Rights Management, basically acts like a bouncer outside a nightclub, constantly checking if you're legit. It keeps pinging the server over and over to verify your ownership. But unlike a normal bouncer who checks you once, DRM is the kind that stands over your head all night, checking you again and again. Still, DRMs get cracked too. So how? It all starts with obtaining the original unmodified game files. Yes, hackers usually buy the game, they download all the files locally because they need the untouched .exe file. Their first job? Understand the file structure. Experienced crackers can instantly tell if a game is protected by standard DRM or by Denuvo just by looking at its binary structure. Then they bring out the heavy tools. The first one, Ollie DBG. A debugger that lets them watch the game's brain while it runs. They see every line of code executing, what triggers when, what the game checks, and exactly how it verifies ownership through platforms like Steam or Epic Games. Next tool, IDA Pro, the godfather of reverse engineering. To understand IDA Pro, you need to understand source code. Developers write games in languages like C++ or Java, human-readable code, but games never really ship with this readable code. They're compiled into a machine code, something humans aren't supposed to understand. IDA Pro takes that machine code and turns it back into a structure that humans can actually understand. Hackers then analyze exactly where the game checks for ownership and remove those checks. And believe it or not, this part is actually easy. The real nightmare begins with Denuvo. Unlike ordinary DRM, Denuvo doesn't just check ownership, it protects the entire code base. It injects fake code paths, scramble logic, and booby traps everywhere so hackers are unable to understand the real structure. When the game runs, Denuvo encrypts the whole executable and only decrypts small portions of code at the exact moment when they're needed. For example, if you're in a cutscene or a gunfight, only the relevant chunk of code is decrypted. And while doing that, Denuvo constantly checks for debuggers like IDA, memory tampering, RAM modifications, or suspicious tools running in the background. Denuvo even generates a unique digital fingerprint for your hardware and your Steam account, linking the game specifically to your machine. If anything even looks minutely suspicious, Denuvo corrupts the code and the game behaves weirdly. That's why cracked versions of GTA 4 had the camera spinning glitch or cars just accelerating randomly. That was Denuvo's sabotage. So how do hackers beat that? Simple, but not easy. Whenever Denuvo decrypts a small chunk, hackers grab it from the memory and save it elsewhere. But since the game only decrypts tiny parts at a time, hackers must play every mission, complete every ending, load every save, trigger every animation, and explore every corner of the game just to collect all the decrypted fragments. That's why cracking modern games can take weeks or even months. Once they have all the memory dumps, they use IDA Pro again to clean the code, removing Danuo's fake paths, junk functions, and traps. But this part is brutal, because even if one fake line is left behind, the game might crash, freeze, or behave unpredictably. And these hacker groups operate like full-blown studios. They've got programmers, reverse engineers, testers, packagers. It's an entire pipeline. And for them, the only thing that matters is being first. Whenever a new Danuo protected game launches, a race begins. Which group will crack it first? But here's the twist. Many of these skilled crackers eventually get hired by big studios because they understand the system better than anyone else. Sometimes even better than the companies that built it. And believe it or not, piracy has kept many games alive. Let's be honest, a lot of us wouldn't have played GTA Vice City or San Andreas back in the day if we didn't get files from a friend on a 4GB flash drive. There was no way most of us were paying the full amount for a single game over 15 years ago. That's why movements like if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing have been growing. But at the end of the day, if you can afford it, definitely support the developers. People spend years building these games. And once I started making money, I made it a point to buy every game I play and support the creators of my favorite game. But what do you think? Are game companies becoming greedier, and is it justified to pirate games if buying isn't owning? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.